1, 2, 1. Well, poor man died the same. There's a rich man in the grave. There's $1 million headstone with money he done saved. Well, none he is the wiser, he's the wiser of the two. And none can do a thing, girl, that I'd like to do to you. But for now, I keep on running. You keep nipping at my heels, and we're carving out. My favorite guitar. This is early 60s, probably. And, again, banjo. You'll notice a lot of my instruments are like they call parlor or smaller. There's a fretless banjo, my resonators. When I played with stud, this was the main one just because it was solid body, so I could run up the gain and everything really, really high on it. So when I got back on the road in 2024, and my wife pushed me to get back on the road. I think she was just sick of me. That was one thing that I really wanted to try to show. Number one, that you could be a full-time musician without that like MTV type or super successful, that you could make a living and take care of your family. So that was number one. Number two was, and you'll probably hear me say this a lot, I wanted to shine light on the musicians that I grew up with, even in the Delta, that we're still friends today, that are not blues musicians, but we cannot deny the blues influence. I mean, we were then there on stage growing up with blues musicians, and you can hear that. It's a very percussive style of playing. I remember I was at a middle school dance out on Lake Lee, and the DJ played a John Prine song, and I was just like, who the hell is this? And my buddy was like, oh, that's John Prine, I'll make you a tape. And then like the next song was Driving and Crying. And I was like, who is this? So that little mixtape had those two. So that kind of started, oh my God, this is songwriting. You know, this is my favorite Mississippi person is Jim Henson. And I'll show you my collection of memorabilia. My wife got me this, but this is one of my favorites. She found it, and it just goes through the people that did it. All the different puppeteers, which Frank Oz to me is my favorite. I can't wait for there to be an autobiography by him. I'm getting all my stuff out, but I'm lucky to also have a wood shop, and I'm, like I said, cleaning it out for the winter. This is also where I do most of my songwriting, right here, and it allows me to get away. One thing that's huge to me in my inspiration is the river and the levee, and that's what I love about my backyard. You can see the levee in the distance, that tree line way back there, and if you look right at it, you can see the bright green, and that's the rye, winter wheat on the levee. And deer all the time will come through and bed right here. And some people don't know what the levee's for. The levee is to hold back the river in case of high water. And so if you can imagine and see how, far this is, and I'll show you where the river, and you'll be like, what? How can that be in high water? I mean, it comes all the way, up here. That's just how mammoth that swell is. Now, talking about some of my favorite spots to look at. So that lonesome tree right out there that's always naked for some reason is one of my favorite. Those trees, especially when they don't have any leaves on them, kind of like arthritic hands springing from the ground. But everybody's friendly, like you can see the smiley face and everything like that. It's not rude or not odd to stop and feed, I guess I'm trying to say. Where's that donkey? They have there's some beautiful turkeys back there. Look at that. And see, wherever you go, the levee is right there behind you. And you see like some like graves. Here. If you see that somebody put a fence up around it right there, so there's some headstones in there. Like I said, this whole block was an old Sears building, and a guy named Bill Boykin redid it to boutique hotel, and some of them are apartments up top, and then these restaurants and shops. We had a mass migration of folks outside of Greenville, as we talked about. You know, we were like 80,000 strong. Now we're at about 28. So many folks were like, it's not what it used to be. All these young folks moved out, and yeah, that's okay. That's the truth. But when I was going to high school, the mantra of my parents and parents' friends were, hey, graduate and get your degree somewhere and then don't come back. Imagine if during those times when we were a senior getting ready and looking out what there was, like, hey, I want you to leave here, go to college, get skills, go out in the world, and then move back. I feel lucky that I got to move back when I felt like I had something to offer to this community. One of the most interesting things about Doe's, it used to be more of a little grocery store for the black community here in the Delta. And they kind of had a grill and everything, and they were just known for their food so much that all these lawyers and doctors that were downtown would start like bringing steaks or whatever and get them to fry it up or cook it up. And slowly it just evolved into a restaurant. But you know, it's a mix of dilapidated with stuff that's being redone. Like you can see this one right here, the classic cut, like that one's just redone. But this used to be amazing. Unfortunately, it's not around anymore. But I mean, all the blue players. And so before this one, or when this one kicked up, also you had One Block East, which is not there anymore. It was owned by David Weiss, who has Spectators. But we talked about blues music and how we were raised. Since I was lucky that my dad played, I mean, I was going in there performing myself at like 15, 16, not good. But and I said that whole group we'd be playing, and we were lucky we'd be playing, and maybe a little Bill Wallace would come in there, and he'd walk up to the stage, and he'd do this little thing with his hands, and that meant stop playing, let him up there and join you. And here's T-Model Ford, the tail dragger. You know, he played a PV Razor, which, you know, it was such an interesting looking guitar. And then you got a little stud at the time playing, but as I said, he was a bad man. And I'm so lucky to be a little bit a part of holding that tradition. Oh, tonight actually is Aubrey Holman, one of those songwriters that I was telling you about we grew up with. And Aubrey's about 4 years older than us, and I would say he was kind of the impetus for a lot of us to get started in songwriting. He played with this band called Shake Bone Fest, but he's starting to play every Wednesday here. We don't really have a lot of live venues for music, which is very unfortunate. So a lot of these people that I pointed out, Sam Chapman's a great example, and there's the Sam Chapman Blues Fest in Hollandale where he lived the last part of his life. These people were all songsters. They didn't call it blues. You know, once it went electrified and went to Chicago, kind of the diaspora of black musicians and black families moving out of the Delta, going to a more industrial place. There was electricity, so that's when everything got amplified, and that kind of solidified what people considered the blues is. But before that, I mean, these were just songsters, meaning that they might be playing for a white audience on the street corner in front of the bar, and then Saturday night playing all night in a juke. They might be playing, you know, again, a street corner in front of a ball game. They had to know a little bit of all types of music. Well, I ramble Yes, I ramble, make a few dollars so I can get home to you. And I'm drinking, so much drinking, enough to feel the Mississippi, give me the blues. Well, honey in the pot, shake what you got, on over the main. Honey in the highs, the deeper I climb on your sugar tree. I think it was this greenhouse. No. Anyway, one of these houses I used to live in when it was on the ground. And again, it's so hard to tell with them up so high. But imagine being a kid and being on four-wheelers and motorcycles, and you know, Mom would leave me $5 to go to that gas station we were at and get some gas. And you know, living was simple and great. Again, it's so many good people out here, and they love to share. Again, we're all kind of natural storytellers in the Delta. It's just some of us will ramble more, like myself. My wife always says that if I'm telling a story, you can get the whole story in the first probably 2 minutes of me telling it, and then I just kind of continue longer and longer. That is Arkansas right there. Even though this is Lake Ferguson and the river body is actually right on the other side, this is still technically Arkansas by the way let's say the tax maps. We sink Christmas trees for fishing. And like I said, unfortunately the boathouse just flipped with the storm, but so water, when it starts flooding, the water will start going over this area here, and it'll start filling up this, and a lot of kids in the area will come bow fishing. And what happens is when then the water goes down, these fish will be trapped. So you really got to get them out, because if they die in here, it stinks to high heaven. But I was able to just go out there and hand grab and pull them up, and it's pretty funny. It's like an old diddly bow. Let's see if I won't go with this. You need a true like snuff can or something, but unfortunately it's overcast, but this is the most beautiful sunset you'll ever see. To be able to be out here and again have four-wheelers and motorcycles, be taught real gun safety and conservation. I'm not a hunter, but I knew proper techniques. I love fishing, and just amazing out here. You still feel kind of free. Or as my wife and daughter make fun of me, you can still pee outside if you're a guy. Again, growing up in the Delta, I just don't see how you could ask for more. I'm crying, yes I'm crying.